Hey guys, it's Will here. So we're going to take a look at the markets. So we've got the Dow Jones here. This is a daily chart. I'm using Heiken Ashi on this chart. You can see here we have red volatility stops, so the price is below that. That usually happens at a flip between like a downtrend and an uptrend. Not always perfect, but you can see how it bounced off the 200 here a couple times. And up here it was at the 50, so it had trouble getting up after this, and now it's coming down. So it could support at this spot here. Momentum is crossed down as well. So this is not, these indices don't look that great. I've been talking about this for a while. When it broke down through the 50 and the 200, and you've bounced off this downtrend here, as well as this bounce down off the 50. And so there's a bit of support right here. We'll see if it holds. Momentum is down. It almost crossed over here, but now it's bounced down again. And the moving average of the MACD or the momentum is sloped down as well. That's the IWM. S&P 500, similar downtrend, downward momentum. Looks like, you know, there's possible support at this level here, but you know, it doesn't look that great, obviously. So it's been a while now, quite a few weeks, where, you know, things haven't looked great, because even when it started to come up a bit, you have the 50-day right there as resistance. It did break up here. There was a chance right here that we'd be resuming, but so you broke past the moving averages, but the 50 did cross down below the 200, and that can be, you know, a negative sign as well. So the NASDAQ, like I said, another support line here, but it's right at that spot with downward momentum. So you'd have to see if it reverses right at that point. But, you know, you can see how we bounce off the 200 here, and also up here. It stayed there for a bit, sort of a double attempt here. Red volatility stops. So that doesn't look good either. And I've got the Canadian market. It's kind of right at the 200 with the downward momentum. So this one was doing better because it had oil and gas and commodities like gold and stuff like that, metals. But, you know, we've supported here in the past at a couple times at 200. So we'll have to see if that holds again. But what I'd be looking for is, you know, obviously a reversal uptrend. This was a spot where you had broke through the 50 and then it pulled back and then it started to go. So that would be a spot that you typically want to get in, but it has a lot of resistance. It didn't get very far with that situation. You can also look at weekly charts. You know, it's been kind of flat here, and then we've got this downward week here. That can sometimes give you a better view, just a little stronger trend situation when you look at the weekly charts. So nothing's really great with the indices. So then with that in mind, you know, you're not in a great advantageous position in general to do well in sectors or stocks because of that overall market sentiment. But if we look at, I'll turn off the pre-market. So right now we can see pre-market. So I'm using TC2000, and you can see the pre-market. Some of those ETFs are trading now in pre-market. It's about 8:30 in the morning Eastern time. So if you want to get a free trial or $25 off purchase of TC2000, check out the link in the description below. I've got the gold plan. I also added real-time data for US stocks so that there's no delay in the data. So I've got a bunch of sectors that I've put into my own watch list that are different sectors of the market. Instead of buying the overall market or buying stocks, you can get various sectors. So for example, rare earth, strategic metals. So right now you might have some people buying dips, looking for lows, but none of this stuff looks very good. But some people, like I said, if you look at momentum, it's really down low here below the zero line. So people are trying to bottom feed cannabis stocks, stuff like that. So the morning market can be a little tricky because you'll see a big up value and then it'll go back to, during the open market. But so what I can do, if I turn off the pre-market just to see what happened as of last night, and you can put your scan on there, and you've got hedge, and that's broken up above a bunch of previous resistance points. It's a active bear fund, but even then it's pretty choppy. So, but if we look at things like wheat, there's a potential for it to turn up here. So the good thing is when you buy right after a pullback, especially if it's a green volatility stop and you're above it, there's a chance that you've got this recent low, so that's where your stop loss would be. So your risk is fairly low. You're not buying like way up here when the previous low is way down there. So like gasoline, it's been sitting on the 50. So you've got a recent low, or the 50 is your stop loss area. So there's some things. These are still commodities. They've taken a bit of a pullback, but we'll see what happens if they continue to go up. Corn, like that, you had this pullback and then a green. Now this is just as of yesterday, but if this continues, you get a recent relatively low risk amount between what you purchased it at and where the stop loss would be. So these are good opportunities to get in. So you could potentially do that. I like to see an upward sloping price percent oscillator, but it could be curling around, but it's not quite showing that yet. But so as of commodities yesterday, these are the values that are potentially coming around. TLT, some people thinking that that's going to, like, the interest rates have topped out and that they're going to start coming up. There's a little reversal here, but so this is a spot as well. It's not great from a trend perspective because you don't have an established uptrend if you're trying to get in right when it's turning, but it's way down here in the momentum and curling up here. So it may not sustain, but that is a possible reversal spot. But big downtrend momentum to get past. One of the best and only things that have a good uptrend is the US dollar. I don't generally buy that, but if you are putting your money just sitting at, there's a nice uptrend established here. If we go to weekly chart, you are getting close to these highs here, but there's not much that is looking great other than people trying to get a bottom feed. And then the ones that have been going up quite a bit, commodities, if they start to come up again after this pullback, they're a good entry point. So you have commodity ETFs, there's cotton. See how they've pulled back, but if they start to go up again, either at the 50 or you start seeing an upward trend, you've got your low spot there and then you start to go up. Gold isn't looking good either. It broke down below the 50. Energy was, it might be sitting at the 50. So there are pullback opportunities if you start to see it going back up again. And you've got that recent low as your stop. But it's just time to be a little bit careful. So I think that's all I want to say. If you want to get a free trial of TC2000 or a $25 off your purchase, check out the link in the description below. And happy trading. We'll talk to you later.